Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching of scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the world who doing this work in sincerity and in truth, and Shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home watching the videos and do their best to please Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. So yeah, man, I want to jump into this article. This is great news because this shows us the downfall of our number one enemy, which are the so-called white people, the Edomites, and you can see it how it's going on with the head tribe of the so-called white people, the so-called Israelis, which are Amalek. And it's beautiful to see how this hedge, that the Mosai, which goes back to Cain, the hedge that the Mosai put around him, that anyone, basically that he was untouchable, that he could go on, that these people could go on with their wickedness and basically were untouchable. You can see that that's not the case anymore. More and more nations, these heathens, even among the Edomites, they've been spewing them out. They've been spewing out. They refused basically to cover up the shit that they've been doing. Yeah, Holland is still doing it, but yeah, of course, Holland, they got their head into the ass of America, and America is under these Amalekites. Basically, yeah, they are the head tribe of the Edomites, and since Esau being in rulership, yeah, he still is in rulership, but he's going down. It's beautiful to see, man. So this also, this something that happened last year. You had these I said it, these fans from Maccabi. They basically came to Amsterdam. They had a soccer match against Ajax, and they were provoking the people and all that. Jumping on, climbing on balconies and getting down Palestine's flags and all that. But the so-called Moroccan people here, which are of Ishmael, and a lot of them also are from go back to Jake, because they go back to the Moors. But they are really down with Palestine, and they don't take that shit. They don't take the shit. They were beaten down. And it started. They were rioting, and of course, the media in Holland, they didn't want to film the things that those people were doing. They only want to film the retaliation that they get. The yeah. The reaction of the people that they got back after they were rioting and trying to they mess with a taxi driver, and that's when basically these people in Amsterdam, especially these Moroccans, they showed them that they are not that they wouldn't take that shit in Holland, and it was funny. It was beautiful to see, because at a certain point, when it was time for them to go home, the taxi drivers refused to bring them, so they had to find people to bring them to. And of course, you're always gonna have coons and all that, So yeah, they had to find some people that were able, that wanted to bring them to the airport, and there they had the marechaussee basically protected them, and they went to a separate gate to enter into the plane, which is beautiful, because that shows you that, that the hedge is gone around them, and that they being spewed out. They are not safe, like how they used to be years ago, and were able to do whatever they feel like, and nobody would say anything about it. But this things change. This is different times now. You know, and that's beautiful to see. And let me see. So yeah, and let me first read the description, then I'm going to jump into the article. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 7. And Yahweh, thy power, will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So, and all these curses is talking about the curses in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and from starting from verse uh, 16 on down, verse 16 until verse 68, are all curses that were brought upon the children of Israel, the real children of Israel, the so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos, and those that go back to those people to the house of their father. So yeah, let me jump in the article. GVB finds video footage because first they said like there were no images, no footage about what happened during that night and even the night before that. They said there was no footage of it. Meanwhile, Esau been recording everything. They had footage in the public trans. They got cameras in the public transportation and all that, and on the streets and all that. But they said there were no footage. And like I said, the media, like the NOS and all that, they were not covering the shit that these Maccabi supporters were doing, but they were only covering the payback, the reaction from the Moroccans, for the majority of the Moroccans, how they got beaten back, basically gotten beaten back in a line. It's only those footages. You had a young guy, Bender is his name. He also got a channel on YouTube. He was the only one that was filming them. He showed them. They had like sticks and things. And was shouting and tearing down places. Damaging cars and all that. And the police and he was filming it. How the police was standing there and was doing nothing. Basically let them have their fun and were not reacting. And when this Maccabi supporters got beaten for the shit that they were doing, then the people were talking about outrage and this and that, and a bunch of hypocrites, man. So back to the article. Amsterdam's public transport company GVB has recovered camera footage from metro stations dating back to November of last year, around the time of the riots surrounding the Ajax Maccabi Tel Aviv match. This could have implications for cases involving Israeli fans who may have misbehaved. Who may have misbehaved? They did. They were singing that there were no children in Gaza anymore because they burned down the schools and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not down with these Palestinians neither. Because whether the Palestinians or the Israelis, both of them, none of them are like us. So, you know, fuck them both. They are all our enemies, so they get what they deserve. But it's beautiful to see how these Israelis, how these small heads, these big nose, hook nose people, how they've been spewed out. That's beautiful to see. The GVB public transport company previously reported that the footage had been accidentally deleted. You see that shit? And that's what they were attempted to do, but probably were told to do. But now, since they being busy with mass deleting the people there in Gaza, people cannot really go around the bullshit of them. The police will now review it, after which the public prosecution service may decide to pursue a case based on the incident that occurred at the metro stations. But I don't really how you say that, expect something from it. But it's beautiful to see that even this happening, because this was something that wouldn't happen years ago. On the night of November 7, 2024, after a football match in Amsterdam, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were attacked and assaulted in several locations. So they were attacked out of nowhere, right? That's the story that they tried to push upon the people, to the media. But you got different platforms, and nowadays everybody got a telephone, they film it, and they got different platforms that were sharing videos about what the Maccabi fans were doing, like on Instagram and on TikTok, things like that, even on Facebook, I believe. But yeah, the mainstream media like the NOS, they basically they were not covering that. Only had Bender, a little child, showing what the Maccabi fans were doing before they were beaten. You see that, and now they can really deny that they were misbehaving themselves. On the night of November 7, 8, 2024, after a football match in Amsterdam, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were attacked and assaulted in several locations throughout the city. Israeli fans also misbehaved. An Amsterdam woman filed a complaint of assault on the platform of the Central metro stations. She shouted "Free Palestine" at Maccabi supporters. She was then allegedly attacked and spat upon. Her case was previously dismissed due to a lack of evidence, of course. Now the police are finally searching for footage in her case, a spokesperson for the Public Prosecution Service said. The Public Prosecution Service cannot yet say how many other cases the subsequently discovered footage might have consequences for. Yeah, if they really go to the videos, they will see that these Maccabi's supporters, that they started the bullshit and basically got what they deserved. At least two other cases against Israeli fans have been dropped. These took place on the subway train. The Public Prosecution Service emphasized that no footage taken on subway trains has been found. Of course. Normally, the GVB keeps cameras footage for a week. However, due to a planned system replacement, yeah, how coincidentally, it appears the footage had already been accidentally deleted earlier this time. The transport company recently discovered that the old recorders and footage hadn't been destroyed after all. They were in a secure storage at the main maintenance provider's facility. Technical specialists subsequently recovered uh, provider's facility. Let me read that last sentence again. They were in secure storage at the maintenance provider's facility. Technical specialists subsequently recovered the material. This footage was from the metro stations, not from the trains. Yeah, because that's something that they don't have. At least that's what they say. So this is one. Let me read one of the curses that was put upon the children of Israel. The so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos, and those that go back to those people to the house of their father. So this is one of these curses. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, and this is basically what you see going on with these people now, because you got more and more countries that are how you say that um um shit, what's the English word for that? They are seeing, claiming that Palestine is an official state, basically. Like France, like Spain, and more countries, they are not down what these Israelis are doing, so they losing a lot of allies. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 65. Among these nations shalt thou find no cease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing for eyes and sorrows of mind. So basically, you see this is slowly going towards them. There are a lot of countries where they are not welcome. Like Spain, they got rules like if like soldiers from Israeli soldiers and all that, they are not welcome in Spain. If they have any ties with things that there are going on in Gaza, they are not welcome in Spain. Like the song festival, Spain is not taking part of it. Holland is not taking part of it. All these countries, there are different countries that said that they are not going to take part of it if this Israeli is going to take part of it. You know, and that's funny to see, because that's also a lot of money that it's been a political. Like last time you could see like Ukraine was also taking part and all that, but Russia was not allowed, and all this hypocrisy going on. You know, but. Yeah, you see that people don't take that shit anymore, and it's beautiful. And the scriptures are very clear, because if the real children of Israel would be brought back to Israel by the hand of the Heavenly Father, this would be the case. Let me read this. This is the book this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, verse 24. And there shall be no more a pricking briar unto the house of Israel, so There's gonna be no one, not nothing that even gonna irritate the children of Israel. And there shall be no more a pricking briar unto the house of Israel, nor any grief and thorn of all that are round about him that despised him, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, their power. Thus said Yahweh the Most High, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel, so it is by the hand of the Heavenly Father, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel from the people among whom they are scattered, and shall be sanctified in them in the sight of the heathen, then shall they dwell in their land that I have given to my servant Jacob. You see that? And there, and it's like, and they shall dwell safely therein. And that's not the case with these people right now. They are not dwelling in safety. They got the Iron Dome, the air alarm is going on. A lot of time, Iran been bombing them, even Yemen been bombing them. So that they're not dwelling safely there. And they shall dwell safely therein, and shall build houses and plant vineyards. Yeah, they shall dwell with confidence, and that's totally not the case. They shall dwell with confidence when I have executed judgment upon all those that despise them round about them, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, their power. And people gonna find out, because that's not the case right now. People gonna find out. So yeah, man, I'm gonna leave it like that. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the earth who are doing this work in sincerity and truth. And shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home watching the videos and do the best to please Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. So yeah, man. Like I said, it's beautiful to see, the downfall of our enemy, and that's exactly what is going on. And that reminds me of another scripture. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's in the book of Sirach. Just popped to mind because this is something, yeah, because this is basically, what we see going on, and Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, we're gonna live to see this happening. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th will I utter with my tongue. A man that had joy of his children, and this in this day's society, as a man, you don't have joy of your children. The government is protecting these females that using children as a weapon, So yeah, you cannot really enjoy your children. But the time is gonna come, man. A man that had joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And Yaharatazah, me and the brothers, all the brothers spread all over the world, all the Akyam, we may, Yaharatazah, that we may live to see that. We already seen them going down, but that we live to see him going down completely, So yeah, man. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.